All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Momentum where I'm here to share a good word with you to start your week off right and help you get to the bag. Today, we're going to talk about lessons that I learned from being in community with some amazing people. Listen, I got a chance to see Eric Thomas speak. I got a chance to see Nichols speak. I got a chance to see Tim Ross speak. I got a chance to see Dr. Sonya Stribling speak. I got a chance to see, oh my gosh, like so many people. Yo, Nikki, thank you for you know how long I've been on this journey, and I have never won anything. And so joining a community where I won an award in the first year, I've been promoted to a chapter president for the Carolinas. And so I have people who look up to my leadership as it relates to speaking. And none of this would have been possible if I wasn't the right person. And so I want to just first, it's a couple things I want to glean from this that I think are very much so applies to everybody that's out there trying to be their best self and pursue the success that they see themselves pursuing. The first lesson I learned is that in order for you to reap all that is out there for you, in order for you to get everything that you were destined to get, you gotta be the right person. And I'm not talking about like picking the right person, like, oh, they got these skills, they got these talents, they got these gifts. No, I'm talking about being at a space that you don't seek external validation outside your assignment. I'm gonna say that one more time. I'm not talking about like having certain traits. I'm not talking about having certain perspectives, right, on life. I'm talking about being able to showcase that your values are driving every decision that you make, and every decision that you make has a big impact on your purpose in this world. Your assignment is critical. And when you stop seeking external validation for your assignment, and you just get on assignment, you do your homework, you don't procrastinate, you make sure you manage your time, you don't cram when it's study time, you prepare, you don't practice when it's test time. Those are the things that you need to be thinking about as it relates to your success. How are you preparing yourself to make sure that you're ready to receive all that is out there for you so that you don't become a worser version that you already are? You know, I used to always say that I was ready for big gigs. I was ready for the big stage. And then I realized, like, if I had gotten those things in the time that I said I was ready, I wouldn't necessarily reap the benefits because I wasn't the right person. So like, I get on the stage and I don't kill it. Or I get on the stage and I don't see the magic happen. Those are some of the things that I think something is really critical for all of us. And so I want to take some takeaways from the speaking event that was really like critical. So just pulling out my notes here, right? So I'll make sure I get it right. All right. So Eric Thomas said, "Stop being obsessed with the stage and be obsessed with the stages." Whew! Stop being obsessed with the stage and be obsessed with the stages. What is he saying? He's saying that it's something out there that you truly desire. For speakers, it's about getting on stage. But the hard thing about this thing is, like, you have to go through stages before you get on stage. Right? You got to go on stages before you get on certain stages. And most of the times you haven't matured enough to get on the stages that you want to get on. And so, because you don't treat the stages of one like a stage of 1,000. So you're not having the gratitude that you think you should have for the thing that's giving you an opportunity to grow into something that could be thousands or millions. But instead, we grumble about the one. We don't take a care of the one. We don't focus in on the one. And there's an old book that says, if you take care of few, they'll give you dominion over many. Right? It's an old book, right? It might be an old book that says that. And so how do you take care of the one? How do you, so that you care about the stages and not just the stage? It's not about a destination. It's about your destiny. And I want you to get serious about like making sure that you don't focus in on your destiny out of desperation, but really focusing in about your destiny out of duty. There's an assignment that you need to be focused on, and I need you to get focused on that. And in order for you to fully, truly complete your assignment, you got to be willing to go through the stages. Whew! That was a major takeaway, right? Another major takeaway that I took away from the conference is that, you know, I think about Dr. Sonya Stribling. So this is, I've heard of her. I got a chance to see her in person over the conference time. What's going on, Bree? And when I tell you Dr. Stribling made it plain. First thing she tried to tell you about success is that it's not one direction. So just like success, when it takes, like, one, it takes time for anybody to be anything to be successful. Two, it's not going in one direction. And so oftentimes we think that all we got to do is plant the seed and then it's going to grow. But we don't realize the work that it takes for the time that it takes for it to grow, the nurturing that it takes for it to grow, and that it also needs equal health in growing in both directions. Right? So like a tree or a plant, it grows up and down. It goes both directions at the same time. And so what you want to do is be able to look at your success as something that, one, is going to take time, two, is going to grow in multiple directions. And so you need to be accountable for that. And so I'm a speaker, right? And so although I believe I'm good, right, I had a lot of time to get better, but I couldn't just get on stages and win awards and not have grown, not as a speaker, but also as a businessman, right? Like, in order to get awards, it needs to be both. I need to be growing in both, right? And so as a speaker, I had to be growing my talent. I had to be growing my skill level. I had to be growing my ability to be able to articulate messages and make it simple and keep it simple for different audiences, be able to manipulate different rooms, being able to move the crowd both physically and emotionally. Those are things I needed to grow as a speaker. But then as a business owner, I needed to grow growing my team. I need to grow in my delegation. I need to grow in my negotiation of contracts, right? Like I had to grow my goals and my vision to really ensure that I am bringing in the money that I need to ensure that my bills are paid, right? Personal and professional bills, right? And so every time you're trying to be successful, you're growing in multiple directions. And so when we don't take account for that, we are sometimes wondering, why am I not successful as I thought I would be? Or why am I not farther ahead than I should be? And the reality is, sometimes the reason why you're not as far as you think you should be is because you're only growing in one direction. I'm a faculty member, right? So I teach for a living. That's my full-time job. I don't speak full-time. I speak part-time. But thank God, right, I have been able to sustain a good life doing both. And as a teacher, it's one thing to be able to know how to teach in the classroom, right? So learning how to get better at engaging students and articulating messages and putting together good lectures and making sure the activities are great, right? That's one thing. Another thing is grading. Right? If you are a faculty member that does research, another thing is growing in your research, right? If you're a faculty member that does a lot of service, another thing is growing in your service, right? And so when you're trying to be successful, you're going to grow in multiple directions. That's why it's hard. That's why it's complex. That's why you run into issues. That's why you run into battles. That's why you have struggles. That's why you might run into imposter syndrome. That's why you might run into self-confidence issues. That's why you might be running into self-esteem issues. It's because you're growing in multiple directions, and when you grow, you're opening up yourself to new territory. Right? That's how it is. Unfortunately, right? Like, think about children. When you're this height, you can only see so far until you get this height, and then you can see farther. Same with success. When you're only this height, you can only see this far. If you've only made $1,000 in a business, you only understand $1,000 strategies. But if you've made $10,000 in a business, then you only understand and know $10,000 strategies, which is better than 1,000, but it's not 100,000, right? But then you get to 500,000, then you get to 1,000,000, right? And you can only be in the stages of your growth, right? That's what another thing that ET talked about is stop focusing on the stage and focus on the stages. And so many people are so upset because they're not seeing the success in the way that they want to see it. And it's not because they can't have it. It's because you're only in the stage that you are in. Right? Like when I was 17, I could only be 17. I only understood what a 17-year-old could understand. And even if I was mature for a 17-year-old, I'm only 17. So I can only be mature for a 17-year-old. So what does that mean? That means that I'm comparing myself to other 17-year-olds. That's it. And that's great. But if you want to be a millionaire and you're 100,000-aire, comparing yourself to 100,000-aires is not going to help you be a millionaire. You can only be in the stage that you are in. So that's the next level I want to really help you think about, is that if you want to be successful, you got to be in rooms with people who are more successful than you. I'm going to say that one more time. If you want to be successful, you got to be in rooms with people who are more successful than you. I got a chance to be in rooms with millionaires, multi-millionaires, hear from people, meet with people who've made 28 million, who are on track to 50 million, who are on track to 100 million in a year. You won't know what that feels like until you have a conversation with a real person who's actually doing it. This is a part of the journey that people don't want to go into, and that takes investment. If you want to be a mechanic, you can't be a mechanic and not learn from a mechanic. You can't be a mechanic and learn from an architect. It's not going to work, right? If you want to be an architect, you got to learn from an architect. If you want to be a mechanic, you got to learn from a mechanic. If you want to be a medical doctor, you got to learn from a medical doctor. I want to be a multi-million-dollar speaker, and so I have to invest to be in rooms with multi-million-dollar speakers. Trying to keep it plain, trying to keep it simple, but really some lessons that is key for all of us. And so if whatever it is that you want to be successful at, what I need you to do is I need you to write down 5 to 10 people that you can contact to start networking with them, to like see how can you actually become the person that you want to become. And so actually another part of actually getting networked with those people is to actually see if you really, really want it. Because when you're in the rooms like those, especially those intimate spaces, you really get a chance to see how do you show up in this thing that you say you really want. Does it energize you? Does it give you flow? Does hours feel like minutes? Or does minute feel like hours? Does it feel like it irritates you? Does it feel like it frustrates you or confuses you? These are all signs to let you know that it might not be for you, right? And so, what's up? What's up? Why am I? What's going on? And so I'm really, really excited to share these lessons with you because, again, listen. Another thing I learned is that when you want to be successful at anything, you need to start with a really strong foundation. And so I don't know what that means for you all. It might, it depends on if you're high school, if you're in college, what your goals are. I can tell you one of my goals is to be a nationally known or internationally known leadership educator. That's one of my goals. And so what does that mean? That means that the foundation of that is I need to be really solid in my understanding of leadership education. Like my knowledge base has to be great, vast. I need to know, for the most part, most of the foundational leadership books, articles, companies, my competition. Like, who are the people out there who's doing the work? Like me. How am I different than those people? That's foundation, right? What's my unique selling proposition? That's foundation. And so when you're applying to college and you write your personal statements, or you're applying to grad schools, or you're applying for jobs, what's your unique selling proposition? What is it about you that's going to help the bottom line of any organization or company or school that brings you in? That's going to help that community. It's going to help things be easier, help things flow better, help things be done better, help things be more moral, help things be more high energy, help things be more happy and joyful. What are your unique selling propositions? And so for me, I'm a maximizer. I love seeing things, whether it's people or organizations, reach their highest potential. And so that means that I'm willing to do whatever it takes, however many hours it takes, for a person to actually actualize into whoever they see themselves becoming. Those are some things that I want you to think about. All right, so building a strong foundation is critical. Because you need stability, right? Because when you have a foundation that is not strong, what you're saying is something can topple over you really easy. Any challenge, any struggle, any hardship can literally knock you over. When you don't have a strong foundation, you don't have anything to build you back up on. You have to start all over from scratch. And that is not beneficial for us because we spend years, time, money investing in these skills. And I want to make sure that you know that, like, your skill development is critical, but also ensuring that you're building on a foundation that's not easily shaken, right? Because you're going to get shook, but is it going to break down? That's something for you to think about. Pops Anderson, he talked a little bit about that, about building a strong foundation, about being a good husband, about active waiting, and being a visionary, right? He said, visionaries don't give power to distractions or be seduced by distractions. And so getting you to think deeper about what it is that you actually see yourself being, right? And don't get distracted by anything that's trying to hold you back from that, right? That is the critical thing that I want you to think about. Man, so many good lessons. Jeremy Anderson, right, talked about like how time and seasons belong to the Most High, right, to God. What we need to see is that you need to come ready for anything, because we don't know if it's going to be a hard season. We don't know if it's going to be an easy season, but whatever the season is, it was meant for you. What he talked about is meant to stretch you, it's helped to mold you, it's helped to guide you, helped to strengthen your foundation. Whatever that season that he got you in, you have to accept that season and be okay with that season so you can move through that season and learn the lessons that you need to learn so you can be stronger, so you can be more solid, so you can have a stronger foundation, right? He talked about how you don't got to, you get to, right? And the beauty of doing the work, the privilege of the work that I get to do is that even if I do a 8-hour speech or 8-hour training where I'm on my feet for 16 hours, I get to do that. And it is a privilege. I even think about, there was a student who was in one of my trainings who, tore MCL and ACL and was still walking through the different exercises, doing their best to be engaged. Like, I'm thankful. I might have to be on my feet for 16 hours, but I'm thankful that I don't have a tore MCL and ACL, right? I get to still do the thing that I love to do and without any distractions. And so when life hardships hit you, I need you to look at it from a lens of, it didn't happen to you, it happened for you, right? It happened for you to get stronger. It happened for you to get smarter. It happened for you to get better. It happened for you to get more of a stronger foundation under you. It happened for you to propel you into making the right decisions. It happened for you to propel you into moving forward into those things that might be scary. It happened for you so you can do it afraid, so you can build your confidence, and so that you know that the next time these things happen, you have everything that you need to be successful. That's why these hardships happen for you, not to you, right? And so I want to make sure that I make that clear. It's so many good lessons, oh my gosh, that I got from the conference, right? Inky, right, talks about obedience. And he talked about how obedience is better than sacrifice, right? And I always like to say that, like, your assignment is within your vision. And so if you never accept the vision that you have for your life, if you never pursue it, you'll never find the purpose of why you are here on this earth. Your assignment is within your vision. And so I need you to know that, right? So when he talks about obedience, what he's saying is that whatever your vision is, you need to be obedient to it. You got to do it. Unfortunately, sometimes those things are hard. I remember taking a $60,000 pay cut to teach leadership studies as a graduate PhD student in 2017. And I didn't want to do it, but I felt like God was giving me all the signs to say, like, just make this decision and I'll take care of the rest. And so, unfortunately, taking a $60,000 pay cut with a mortgage, a wife, a son, a child, and a son in daycare, right, which is practically another mortgage, I took a $60,000 pay cut because I believed that my purpose was to be in the classroom and to be teaching students leaderships about their gifts and talents and how to articulate their gifts and talents to industry leaders so that they can graduate with a job or with the career of their dreams. I did that out of obedience. It wasn't something that I wanted to do, right? Because this is what we also get wrong about obedience. Sometimes obedience doesn't always feel good. It's not always something that we want to do. Obedience is not something that always feels like the nice thing is going to happen in the end. Most of the time, obedience feels like something terrible is going to happen in the end, and you just praying that you have a breakthrough on the way. But that's the breakthrough, is obedience. Like, the obedience is saying everything in your mind is telling you that this is crazy, this is silly, you should not do this, and then you do it anyway. Now, I'm not saying there's a difference between being prepared and obedient. So I'm not a full-time speaker. I don't believe that I was told that that needs to be an obedient move that I need to make right now, because my bank account doesn't say that it's going to keep the things that I believe that God gave to me, like this house, right? My bank account doesn't say that I can still take care of this house without a full-time job, right? And so obedience is not the same thing as just moving without preparation, right? You still need to be prepared, even if that's a beautiful thing about, like, I believe about, like, God, right, is that when he gives you a message, sometimes the message is like, move now, and you'll know that. But most of the time it's like, I'm hitting you with subtle signs that I'm trying to let you know that this is either coming, or your window of opportunity to make a decision on this is closing, but it's not closed. And I had to learn this the hard way, right, is not the lifetime of the opportunity is only opportunity of a lifetime is only open in the lifetime of the opportunity. And so we don't know if that's 6 days. We don't know if that's 6 hours. We don't know if that's 6 weeks. We don't know if that's 6 months. We don't know if that's 6 years, right? We don't know the lifetime of the opportunity of your obedience, but you know what you need to be obedience to. And just do it, right? Or get yourself in a mind frame to do it. So shout out to Inky for that. That was off the chain. I'm trying to think of some other, just trying to, building influence was great. Wall Street Trap was amazing. Gave me a lot of game. Lisa Nichols was just powerful. Like, my first time seeing her in real time, and I mean, you talk about like walking through the aisles and everybody got their phones up with the light on like it's a concert. That is masterful. Like, that is something that is like technique driven. And so I think the last thing that I'll leave this thing with is, excuse me. Like, I want everybody to understand that, like, you need to put the hours in to get skilled at something. Like, if you want success at anything, you got to put the hours in to know that you are skilled at something. Like, it's not going to just come overnight. It's not just going to happen over time. Like, it's not going to happen just because you decided that you was going to get involved. Like, once you decided to get involved, that's when the real work begins. And so they say 10,000 hours. I don't know how many hours it will take. But I can tell you that I've been speaking now for 9 years. Professionally for 9 years. And this is the first year that I felt like not only am I having breakthroughs, but my breakthroughs is causing other people to have breakthroughs. Like, and that's when you know that you're doing something in purpose. Like, I know in the classroom, when my students have their aha moments from the work that we do, that's how I know I'm in purpose. When it comes to speaking, I knew I was supposed to do it. I didn't necessarily know that I was supposed to be a motivator. I thought I was supposed to be an educator. And it wasn't until I started telling my story about, overcoming my, seeing domestic violence between my parents, then their divorce. My brother was murdered. I had another sister who died. I had another brother who was murdered. I didn't graduate from middle school. It was conditionally admitted to high school. I got into college on a hope and a prayer, practically, right? Graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, went on a national search for jobs, didn't get a single interview. 100 jobs I applied to and didn't get a single interview. All of those things happened for me to share with somebody else so that I can help them have a breakthrough. Because now I'm a doctor. Now I've spoken to over 200,000 people. Now I have made over $500,000 speaking part-time in 9 years, right? Now I have worked through battles in my marriage, right, where we are almost at 10 years next year of being married, right, and happily married. My kids got the same mama. They live in the same house. with me and they mama, right? These are all generational curses that I had to break, and my breakthroughs didn't happen until I start telling those stories. And people start seeing me as a real person that actually had to deal with some stuff before I became a doctor, before I had all these illustrious things, right? Before I started getting these recognition, right? And so I want to say that a quick thing to you is just to know, like, when you're going through something to get skilled at anything that's going to change lives and impact lives, there needs to be a test so that you can have a testimony. It needs to be. And so I don't know what that thing is for you, right? I don't know what you want to be successful at, but whatever you want to be successful at, it's going to be some hardship, and you should expect that, right? Because when you expect the hardship and it comes, you're not surprised, but also you're able to make as well strategized decisions as you can because you knew something was coming, right? And I'm not saying that we're going to be perfect. Nobody is. But you know where you're great at. You just got to commit to it. And the only time that you can commit to something that is going to be connected to your greatness is that you're willing to change. Because how does anything grow? It has to change. Okay? Let me say that one more time. How does anything grow? It has to change. You didn't go to middle school. You didn't go to middle school so that you can be the same person you was in elementary school. You didn't go to high school so you can be the same person that you was in middle school. You didn't go to college so you could be the same person that you was in high school. You didn't graduate college and become a professional, right? Or go on to the workforce and become a professional because so that you can be the same person that you was before you started that process. You gotta change to grow. And when you do that, that's when you'll have your breakthrough. So, I got mine. Let me show y'all. I am officially an award-winning speaker. Officially. I am officially an award-winning speaker. That is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to end this. It's Dr. Dar. If you're watching this watching a replay on YouTube, make sure you like, you share, subscribe. Make sure that you come back every Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'm here to share good work with you to start your week off right and help you get to the bag. I'll be here next week, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And of course, as always, keep doing the good work.